wherever you go. Teach the world. Teach the wherever you go. Tukwaniriza nate olunaku olwaleero ku program emanyikiddwa nga Perception olinange Grand Abbott da West Zulu tuli ku TV Africa tusinzidde mu kizungu makindye era nga nakusuubiza olunaku olwaleero okubanga tulina omugenyi mu studio abamu ku bantu ab'enjawulo baganda baffe abakulira ebweru wa Africa. In the studios right now I have a visitor, and this visitor is a sister from the diaspora, and it's quite interesting because we have been these days discussing about topics how women can indulge their work and consciousness into construction of Africa to go back on its top. I'm glad to have you in the studios, Madam Amenti.
Bless you.
So I'm very interested, and the people are really waiting to hear much from you as we shall go by through the topic and other things we are going to discuss. I want you to really introduce yourself fully to the audience.
Okay.
Yes.
Greetings, TV Africa, and greetings, Brother Zulu. Thank you for inviting me here. I am Amenti the Awakener, Amenti the Oracle. I'm a spiritual healer, a liberator of African consciousness in the diaspora, and a mother, and somebody who's committed my life to not only empowering myself but other people to bring change collectively, not just for African people but for humanity as one. I am an author of a book called 12 Seeds to Awaken Your Spirit, which is a spiritual development and empowerment workbook. I'm also on the radio and in the UK. So I'm on Omega FM radio, and I do a show called the Spiritual Awakening Show. And I'm a holistic health and wellness consultant, so I teach people about the importance of health, wealth, food, and all of those good things. So I'm grateful to be here.
That is very interesting. When I hear you speak about health,
Yes.
you speak about hypnotherapy,
Yes.
regression therapy,
Yes.
you're a mother,
Yes.
and again you do some history.
Yes.
Let's begin by this thing. You know, now when I'm seated with you in the studio, and they hear sister is coming from UK, they expect me to have got money from you. Why is it that people have that concept of the diaspora or Western world as a source of wealth, and have really polished it out of their minds from the African part of contribution to the wealth and resources of the planet?
Yeah. I mean, that is a topic that I could definitely talk about. First and foremost, you mentioned, why is it that people in homeland Africa see those from the diaspora as having wealth? And that's because of the European mindset. But what we have to understand is that through slavery, there was a separation of those who were at home and those who now became a part of the diaspora. The concept is, the understanding sometimes is that because we're living in these wealthy countries such as Europe, that we are, living from a place of wealth, and that's not true. Because even though we are in those countries, we're still under the same subjugation as those who are on land and those who have been through colonial rule. Yes, there is opportunities for us to make resources and make money, but at the same time, there's also, as much money as we make, there are higher expectations and resources. Since I've been in Uganda, I've been able to live both in the city and also go into the villages. And what I'm able to see is that in the villages, and especially in Africa, there are natural abundant resources. Natural abundant resources. So we have been kind of mind tricked.
Hold on.
Yes.
When you speak about natural abundant resources, they may not get you.
Okay.
Because you may, in fact, decipher more on that.
So simple thing like in the UK, there are hardly any trees that have fruit.
Hardly any trees
that have fruit. So there are many people that are starving. If you do not have money, then you cannot eat. But in Africa, in the West Indies, where the land is abundant with natural resources, you have fruits on the trees. You can eat and still be nourished. That's at its most basic level. But we have been taught that money is a most valuable resource. But when you understand money, you realize that money is just paper. What is the real natural resource is gold, is bauxite, is natural minerals that are found in the earth, and Africa has that in abundance. Another thing that slave trade showed us is that one of the most powerful resources that we have is human energy.
Yes, human energy.
This whole slave trade was based on the energy that we had, and because we didn't have the value for life, you know, the fact that we were involved in trading our people, our brothers and sisters, meant that we didn't have that value for life. And so therefore we've gone through this process of not really understanding how valuable we as humans are. Without the energy of the slave trade, there would be no great Europe that we're seeing now, because it's our energy that created and built that.
For years and years.
Definitely.
Now, there is something that is funny today, mostly on the part of our women, black women. We have many companies that are now dealing in taking our people to work in West Asia, mistakenly called the Middle East, and others going to Europe. And I see this some kind of reverse slavery, but I don't think if our people can understand it, because their human resources have been exploited.
Exactly.
And then people think if you're in Europe, you're in heaven. You really have to tell us, are there poor whites?
There are. There are poor whites. And there are white people who are living below standard. When it comes to poverty, poverty knows no color. It's a consciousness, okay? And we've been given that consciousness through things like slavery and how we've been living, okay? So when that conception that people in the West have more money, it is absolutely ridiculous, because it's not true.
Is the pound backed by anything like diamonds, gold?
That's the thing. The pound is only backed by the Commonwealth. And the Commonwealth is basically the British Empire. So when the British Empire was in power and they had all of these countries connected in their empire, in order to give them independence, each country had to then get a loan from the International Monetary Fund. What that did was bind each country, because newly independent countries cannot survive on their own. They need machinery and things to be able to cultivate their resources. Now, because they didn't have that money, they would have to now get money from the British colony, money that they were then not able to pay back, which now means that they owe the state, which is the British Empire,
so they are
money.
in a debt.
They are indebted instantly. The minute that you have independence, you have debt.
You have debt.
And they create that deliberately so that each country that gains independence is actually now going to be giving over their energy and their resources to the British government, without the British government having to give them anything in return. Before independence, when we had colonial rule, those who were in charge, whether it's the British, the German, the French, whoever, they were responsible. They were responsible for the development of their colonies. Independence meant that they no longer had to be responsible, but would still yield the benefits.
The exploitation goes on.
That's it.
Now, that topic is very interesting, because here in Uganda, you know, whenever it's 9th October, we see mostly our women, we have, they call it Independence Ground in Kololo. They dress in all these colors of the Ugandan flag and they rejoice for the independence. But really, I think they are surprised to hear that they are celebrating a date
Definitely.
that will trail them over and over for years. Let's go into this idea of writing books. There is a saying that if you want to hide something from black people, keep it in the book.
Exactly.
One time I was arguing, telling people, you know, when the blacks keep on reading into these books and they all find all the discoveries, they're being paralyzed, and it's white men discovering everything, yet they discover them before a white man knew what a shoe was. I think it's part of the problem. But as you as a therapist, I think you have another approach to our people here, because the reading phobia is rampant.
Definitely. What we have to understand is that before things like the slave trade and colonialization, we were highly intelligent. We were the ones that created the first languages. One of the biggest libraries in the whole of the world was in Timbuktu. But this was burnt down during the times of slavery for a reason. And that was to keep us enslaved mentally. Because without knowledge...
You're speaking of the University of Sankore?
Yes.
Thank you.
That's it. Without knowledge, we're not able to feed our minds, and we're not able to rise and evolve and understand how to utilize this world that we're living in. So during the times of slavery and colonialization, we were told that we weren't allowed to read, we weren't allowed to write. So this meant that all of our information came from our oppressors, whilst our oppressors studied the great philosophies of ancient Kemet and ancient Sumer and all of those civilizations. So that is why they say if you want to hide something from a black person, just put it in a book, because they deliberately created it so that we weren't able to gain knowledge. And then so therefore we had this phobia around books. For me personally, I love knowledge. From a child, I was inspired by books, and I sought to read every book that I could find. Even my home is filled with books.
That's wonderful.
Because in order for us to really prosper, we have to know ourselves. We have to know our past in order to change our future. And so I encourage each and every person to try and get past that phobia of reading, because what you can read will allow you to inspire your mind to see yourself outside of your current situation.
Somebody told me, reading is to the mind what exercise is to the body.
Exactly. And what breathing is as well. It gives you life and inspiration. We are cognitive beings, meaning that when we take information in, we expand it, and then we can do things with it. But when we don't read, we're limited in our perception. And that perception will then limit our opportunities in the way that we see the world. So our ancestors were great readers, great philosophers, great writers. And if we're able to now engage in that same way of getting information, then we can go on to be successful and prosperous in our future.
You spoke about a book you wrote.
Yes.
I want to know more about that, and the entire public. It can be inspiration to our women.
Brilliant. Yes. Okay, so my book is called 12 Seeds to Awaken Your Spirit.
12 Seeds
to Awaken Your Spirit. And it's based on the understanding that each and every one of us started off in the heavens as a star. And that our plan for what it was going to do in this lifetime was written way before we came here. And then we descended in consciousness and became these seeds that were planted into the fertile soil of Mother Earth. We're nurtured by the elements of fire, earth, air and water. And we go through different trials and tribulations that allow us to now elevate in consciousness back to the divinity of the stars. Our ancestors studied the stars, and they studied astronomy. And when you study astrology, it gives you a higher understanding of who you are beyond the flesh. So when I was 33, I was just about to finish my 33rd year, I had a vision, and God said to me, what is it that I will have to leave as a legacy for about what I've learned about this journey through life? And within a month, that book was written. By the end of within a month, and it's over
very wonderful.
It's over 400 pages long, and it's basically a workbook which allows you to now start asking yourself questions about your life, your spiritual journey, but it also includes some information about my spiritual journey and what I've learned. So the 12 seeds are based on 12 different aspects of things that we go through in our life and the things that we need as our spiritual foundation. The first seed is know thyself.
Know thyself.
So within that, we know that in every spiritual tradition, the first thing is about knowing who you are. So in that, I talk about my journey, I talk about my past life memories, and I talk about the development journey that I went on to knowing who I am. It then goes on to talk about understanding the laws of the universe, because our ancestors knew how the universe worked. They knew that every cause has an effect, every action has an effect. So then they knew how to manifest what it is that they wanted into their realities. We've lost that knowledge. Another seed is understanding how to turn your past pain into your power. Many
past
of us,
pain into power.
That's it. Many of us have been through trauma in our lives. We go through experiences and stresses, but we've chosen them from a higher perspective for a reason, because all of those situations will help us to grow spiritually into who it is that we have become. But because we're so traumatized by those experiences, we don't go into it and look at what is the learning in those experiences. I've found that with a lot of my clients, I have clients who are sometimes 50 and 60 years old, who are still held hostage by things that happened to them as a child. through the topics in this book, it will help you to start unpicking all of your experiences so that you can now understand them from a higher perspective and help yourself and others to move forward.
Oh, that is very, very wonderful. So it could be a very good book, but
Yes.
now we can't find it. Can we find it in any libraries here in Uganda?
I will be bringing some to Uganda. I'm going to be coming back here very soon, so I'll be bringing some. It's also available online as well, so you can get the ebook copy as well if that's something that you want to do.
Now, it's quite interesting to have, an author, a teacher, a liberator, a therapist, then a presenter, entrepreneur, international best-selling, author. It's all of that inspiration.
Okay.
We have a concept here. I don't know if it's also affecting our African sisters in the diaspora. Here there is a saying that if you want to advertise something, to sell it to women, you put it on TV. Now, what is rampant today that has eaten up the minds of the black women here, it is soaps.
Yeah.
Mostly Indian, Filipino, those kind of soaps. And it's when the time comes for them to air, it's when they call the babies.
Yeah.
Yet we know images really shape our reality, but now the mothers are bringing these images, they in fact give them more credit when they are with the children. I think it has an impact to the mindsets of the children.
Definitely.
Has it happened in the diaspora as it is?
Yes, but I would say that it does. I mean, even from my own experience, I don't watch TV now. I don't have a TV because I've understood that TV is programming. When you become conscious, you understand that everything that you feed your mind has an effect on you and goes into your subconscious. And so there is a culture of, because women are at home and looking after children, there is a culture through the media that is about conditioning women and keeping them in a program of drama, just constantly in that space of drama. And if a woman is in a space of being entertained, then she's not elevating her mind. And then if she's encouraging her children in that same path, then they're not being elevated either. So I do agree with you that that is something that has happened. But we have to understand that the power of what we put into our minds, So I encourage the women out there to be conscious about what it is that they're watching, because whenever I'm watching anything, I think about it like this: how is this informing me? How is this going to help me to move forward? Because TV can be a productive thing if you're watching things like business programs or if you're learning, but you have to be conscious of what it is that you're putting into your mind. And as the mothers, we are the ones that raise the children. And so if our mind is not vibrating at the right frequency, if we're not feeding our mind with the right information, then our children will also grow up without having that right information in their mind as well. And that's what will stunt their growth. So I believe that it is a political agenda. It's something that's done deliberately to ensure that we don't expand our mind. But we as women have to understand that we have the power to choose what it is that we tune into. And we have to be mindful of that.
There is a question, this real question really, I would like to ask. If you read books like Destruction of the Black Civilization by Chancellor Williams, there is that exquisite part about Queen Nzinga. And I don't know, is there any problem? Are not our people involved into the movie industry to really exploit these stories and make series out of them so that they can even reach out to the black people so that at least we can get our own stories in the movie than the propaganda?
This is why organizations like TV Africa is so important. The issue that we've had in the black community is that we do not own our own media stream. So therefore, we're not in control of what is being programmed into our consciousness. Something like a story about Queen Nzinga will be liberating to African people. So you cannot expect the mass media to put something like that out because it goes against their agenda. The minute that we as black people see ourselves in powerful roles, it's going to ignite something in our consciousness that will bring back that energy to us. That's not what they want. So we have to be the ones that take our great African stories and recreate them using our media and projecting it out to our consciousness. Even though, I mean, TV Africa is a great station, but there's also mediums such as YouTube. So even if you were interested and you were a budding filmmaker, you could create that movie and then post it on things such as Facebook and YouTube, which is another way of a free media and push those images out. But we have to understand that we cannot wait for other people to invest in trying to uplift us, because it's to their benefit that we are suppressed. It has to come from us. And so I encourage anyone who has an idea, all of us young people who are studying media, to take these stories of our great ancestors and bring them into the media so that we can start to see these stories. Because I know that even as a young person, once you see an African person of great power on the screen, it's going to activate something in you, and you're going to want to know, how can I be great like that? And that's what we need. That's how we can make the programming positive.
On that very session, sometimes we discuss and we talk about those great women. You can give us like 4 of those black women really that inspire you. At least it comes from a woman.
Of course.
Not from a man. What happens, the history they were teaching here, his history, in fact not our story,
yes.
It does not include African women. They were excluded from all the records. So they see themselves as if they have nothing to do to the contribution into the civilizations and this knowledge and all these liberations. So, when you speak about them, they say, but you people, you parade woman first. But because there is that embedded information into them about European male favorism.
Yes.
At least you can...
Definitely, because that is a European concept. If we look in African history, African is basically a matriarchal lineage. It's based on the feminine energy being at the foundation of everything.
Yes.
If you look at the Ashanti tribe, if you look at
the
how Igbo, you can see how even the kings are chosen. It's always from the matriarchal lineage, the mother's lineage. So I don't believe that this is indigenous to us as African people. I believe that mindset of male chauvinism has been gifted to us by the Europeans. And so for me, it's all about going back to the root. The mother is the source. Without the mother, there is nothing. She is the first God that we know. She's the first creator. And so we as African people have to look towards our own history and look towards our own root and our own experience. Because even in the slave trade, even though our mothers were taken to foreign lands, they were still breastfeeding, the European children. So our DNA is inside of those children. We were still the nurturers for them. Even our oppressors saw the greatness in the African woman. And so we have to go back to those original ways of thinking and honor the divine feminine again and nurture our mothers. But you asked me about different female in our past that I believe, that I admire. One is Queen Hatshepsut, because she basically represented that masculine and feminine energy in one, and that is what the Divine Mother is. When a mother is left, if the father has left, she has to take on both roles. And it's not to say that she can do it all on her own, but there's a natural instinct within her that aligns and empowers her to do so. And I believe that Hatshepsut represents that divine masculine and feminine working in harmony.
Now that's where we can first hold on there. You see, when you speak about Hatshepsut, they will not know who she was.
Oh, okay. Yeah. She was a great queen of Egypt, a great queen of Kemet. And she ruled for a very, very long and abundant period of time, at a time when Egypt was going through a great transition. And she was also seen as mysterious, because not many people knew whether she was male or female. And that's because she was able to, she would wear masks sometimes, she would wear headdresses that allowed her to embody that masculine energy, because she knew that that is what her people would have respected, because that's what they were used to. But they didn't understand that behind every throne, behind every masculine king on the throne, is a divine feminine woman who is feeding and supporting that consciousness.
What I know about Queen Hatshepsut, I remember after her reign there came Thutmose.
That's it.
I read somewhere she helped to begin to open up one of the towns in Somalia, present-day Mogadishu.
Yes.
She was a very good explorer.
Definitely.
And she introduced the system of constructing the holy chambers for the pharaohs deep into the mountains, normal construction of the pyramids, and then she began the Valley of the Kings.
Exactly that.
So that is one Hatshepsut. Very wonderful.
Also, Queen Makeda, the Queen of Sheba.
Wonderful.
Yes, she is very, very important to me. Number one, because I believe that our energies very much align. She was the Empress of Ethiopia, and she was also Empress of many other places as well. And she traveled to Jerusalem in Israel to go and meet with King Solomon to gain wisdom. And for me, I'm always in the pursuit of wisdom. I've traveled here to Uganda in the pursuit of wisdom to get as close to the source as possible. And what I admired about her is she was an empress, and to be an empress means to govern more than one land. Okay, and I believe that the black woman is empress also because she rules the heavens and the earth. Right? And for me, Queen Makeda was so important and so influential that after her meeting with Solomon, the Ark of the Covenant, which was the sacred chamber which represented spiritual power on earth, was now taken to Ethiopia, where she resided, therefore showing the handover of spiritual consciousness from that of the masculine energy to that of the feminine. As we know, the whole of Africa, the whole of the world was called Ether Utopia. And that means the place where God loves to dwell. You know, so Ethiopia, as much as it's a small landmass now, was a very big landmass at that particular time. And it was symbolic of the returning of that divinity to the land of the mother.
The mother.
Yeah.
That is wonderful. Those are two. Another one.
Okay. Queen Nyabingi.
Nyabingi.
Yes.
Wow.
I've been studying Queen Nyabingi recently because obviously coming to Uganda, I wanted to explore more of the history and the culture here. And the story of Queen Nyabingi is so entrenched in your culture. Obviously, her manifesting as Musamosa, in the later times. But that energy of that divine feminine energy that was a warrior. And not only a warrior, she also taught her people, those who followed her, how to live harmoniously on the land. When we look at the Rastas, the Rastafarian movement that's taken place in Jamaica and in the diaspora, Nyabingi set that foundation. And for a very long time, people didn't understand what the drumming and the calling of Nyabingi was about. But what it is about invoking that feminine warrior spirit. We do not understand that the feminine energy is the hidden, the masculine energy is the seen. So when we play the drums and we sing and we feel that power, that's the feminine energy that's being called forth. And Nyabingi is also connected with Sekhmet, who is the Egyptian lion deity, which represents that lion force of regality and protection. And so that energy of Queen Nyabingi, her spirit is very much present now, but has also been called forth at different times when Africans have needed protection and liberation. It was when her energy was invoked through Muhammad, that is when Muhammad was able to keep off and ward off the Germans for 21 years to stop them from being able to invade Uganda. So it's like that energy is there and it's powerful and it's prevalent. And so for me, she's somebody that's very, very important. And because of the fact that during that time where we were so powerful, the Western, they brought in these anti-witchcraft laws in the 1921, which stopped us from being able to really embody our African spirituality and call on these energies. And that became the demise of our African people. That's how we began to become more enslaved. And so I believe that through my resurrection and remembrance of her, it's also showing us that we have to re-embrace our African spirituality, because that is the power that we are missing. Being able to call on our ancestors for that strength, and that will allow us to move forward and to have liberation. So Queen Nyabingi is somebody I really respect.
You spoke about our spiritual consciousness. I remember last year I hosted a bishop from England. She's Bishop Margaret Megan, something like that. I don't know if you know her, but we were speaking about that spirituality, and I was questioning why is it that the Western religious consciousness has taken up most of our women. Today they are the ones in the choirs, they are the ones who spend all the time as church warriors, prayer warriors, instead of doing some entrepreneur work. As you are an entrepreneur. How really can we go by this so that we can utilize this time instead of wasting it somewhere, and then we do things? Because recently we had International Women's Day, but there was an argument that women have been left out in terms of business and entrepreneurship. For a very long time, the feminine energy has been relegated to the home.
So she has been seen to just be the mother and just be the nurturer. But as we've seen through Queen Hatshepsut, women have been able to run governments. Even being able to run a household takes understanding economics, it takes organization, it takes conflict resolution, because you have to bring peace into the home. So I really believe that it's about helping women to see the transferable skills that they already have and supporting them in developing businesses. But that has to come collectively. Sometimes, even in Africa, we have adopted a male chauvinist perspective. And so for some women, they're not getting the support and the inspiration that they need to be shown that they can strive in business environments. What we've done in the UK is we've created events that are specifically for women in business and encourage them to develop skills which allow them to now be supported by other people. What I find is that sometimes women can feel like they don't have anything that is of value. But I say to each woman, whatever you can create, whether it's making creams, whether it's being able to write, whether it's being able, whatever it is that you're able to do.
Because I know they're good in textile.
That's it, making clothes. You can make things. Everybody needs clothes, right? So all you have to do is take what you're naturally doing and be able to apply that in a way of commerce. And also being around more women who are doing those things, working together, will also raise the profile of women in business. But I believe that African women just need to change their mindset and look at what they're already doing and transfer that into an entrepreneurial element.
That is very wonderful. A person like you, Amenti, who has counseling skills, I want you to really drop something on our girls our women between the age of 27 to 16. They see themselves as a sexual image. So they say, so long as I'm a woman, I'll get married and then the man will provide for me. So long as I look beautiful and cute and all that. So where does the problem, how did we lose the mark up to there?
That has been influenced again through the media and through TV, because there has been an over-sexualization of women, and also through male chauvinism. It has been put forward that women need to be looked after and that women need to source a man who's going to take care of all of their needs. When what we should actually be looking for is balanced and harmonious relationships. As a woman, we have to look at the resources that we have naturally and also look at what we can bring to a relationship rather than what it is that we can take from it. I think also it's about embracing different role models. Most of the people in the media are being over-sexualized, so it is about trying to be different. For me personally, I look towards my culture. So in the UK, I dress in African wear. I dress in a way which for me represents beauty and grace, and I think through doing that I inspire other people to do the same. So I think for those young girls who are in that space, I want to say to you that your Africanness, your beauty is something that is precious, and so that you should adorn yourself in the way of a goddess, because any man who's looking at you should be able to see something that he can respect, honor and love, and vice versa. You don't want to end up in a relationship with a man where you are putting your sexuality first and money first, so that when he actually gets with you, he feels as if he owns you. Then he will be treating you in a certain way, and then you'll be complaining. But you put yourself
putting money first.
That's it.
It's a problem these days. I don't know how we are going to go by it, but now you people, you are good at writing books. We shall be writing those books, and then at least we can discuss with our people. And again, we can have seminars.
Definitely.
I think next time when we organize a seminar for women,
definitely,
you'll be a very good person to come and represent.
I'd be happy to. I mean, and with the age of the internet now as well, we can have a choice about who we tune into. As I said, I've come all the way from the UK, and it's through Facebook that I made the connections with the people here for me to come here. So it's all about choice. So I just want to encourage you, young women, to look outside of yourself and utilize the internet as a positive way of looking for positive role models. I'm on Facebook and I'm on Instagram, and I share a lot around empowerment. Even my lips, the reason why I color them green is about liberating my lips, because as black people, we are persecuted for our lips, but then you have Caucasian people who are boosting up their lips, with all kinds of fake things. So it's for me to celebrate my lips and to celebrate my Africanness and to celebrate who I am, and therefore encourage other people to do so. We are the mothers of creation. And so if we do not value ourselves, then we cannot expect the world to do so either. So sisters out there, I want you to really just tune into the beauty of who you are and look towards our ancestors and see how you can bring more of their grace and their beauty into your life now, because I promise you, you will have so much more value, and the males that you will attract will be ones that can appreciate you for who you are, rather than those who are buying you.
Oh, wonderful. Let me first switch now to tubadde n'omukyala ayitibwa Amenti the Awakener. Wabula abajja tuwa studio line. The producer will give us the studio line, and then you can call in and then ask the questions you really want to be answered from the sister, and then we can really discuss more. The studio line is open. All right. Sorry. So 0753 1932 60. You can call in and speak to Amenti. Tujja kuba twogera naye. Okay, TV Africa. Hello. Esebo webale kubanga kuli tulina omukyala Amenti. Yes, Katumba. Mugezako mwebaza mu luzungu nawe.
Madam Amenti, thank you for the advice you are giving to our young girls.
Thank you.
Yeah, it inspired me. Thank you for being with us to teach us Africans. Thank you to come and to be in that picture of the bodies,
Yeah.
Yeah, thank you.
You're welcome. Thank you.
And then,
Yes.
Ate
wali buzibu sebo. Esebo.
Njigiriza kubanga nsoma ebitabo muzeeyi nensotegera ekitabo nekitegeera bulungi nnyo ekitaliwo mu kusooka ngeri twasibeerangamu nga era n'obikula ekitabo nekisoma ffenna era nkyebaza nnyo muzeeyi
Esebo.
biribadde binyuma ng'otegeera naye kata tobitegeera muzeeyi tweyanziza ntweyanze
Ashe.
ate.
Thank you.
So he's very, very happy to have you. He has been waiting, and he's appreciating for that feminine goddess, representation, and very interested that you write books. Let's take another. TV Africa, hello. That one, we missed you, but the studio line is open 0753 1932 60. Osobola okuba n'obaako by'obuuza naddala abakyala mu kaseera kano nsuubira mubere nga musobola okubuuza muconnectinze mutya n'ebibiina byabwe ebiri eri ebweru. Let's take this one. I don't know. Okay, studio line is open. You can call in whatever you want, and then we discuss. So how do we connect, like if we have women who can produce products in here, how do they reach into the UK for the market?
Right. It's funny that you asked that, because I was asked a few months ago, from my spirit, what idea would I put forward to help with that very same thing? And I think we have to utilize the internet. We have to utilize the internet for positive effect. So my idea is that in order for us to connect women who are in the diaspora and the women on the globe, on the homeland, we have to use the infrastructure of the internet and create open trade. So let's say for you, for instance, you have shea butter that's growing on your land.
Let's take this one.
Okay.
Hello? Okay, we're having a problem with the network somehow, but keep on trying on that number. We shall get you, and you will speak to Sister Amenti, the Awakener. Yes, we were still in the middle.
Okay, so we have, let's say you have shea butter and you have it growing on your land, and I'm in the UK and I make products with shea butter. We should be able to link over a community network where we'll give exclusive trade. So let's say we trade amongst each other, and you give me 20% off of what you produce, because we are both Africans, either in the diaspora or on land. I can now utilize what it is that you've got and create products which I can now sell to the global market. Therefore, keeping the black pound in our community, and also giving you a way of being able to utilize what you've got growing on your land land and put it out to the open market. I believe that us working together collectively is what will allow us to now build a strong global economic stronghold as well, and create opportunities for women, and not just only women, but Africans on land and abroad to now start working together. I believe that the slave trade can be used to a positive effect. It means that we are now dispersed all over the world. And so if we create exclusivity amongst trade amongst all Africans at home and abroad, then we can actually start to create an infrastructure which will allow us to become a global economic power.
That is very wonderful. You know, the term economics is most of the times is complex.
Yes.
Our people here, you know, when we, I remember I had a discussion with Dr. Cloud Anderson, and we were streaming live, but the economic terms, some of the people were really left out, like one of the brothers who said the English is too much that you speak, but at least they're trying to digest. Let's take this one. TV Africa. Okay. 0753 1932 60. Mukube tujja kuba togezganya nammwe. Okay. I have a problem with the network, but still we can go on as we head to the end of the show. Hello? Okay. TV Africa. I don't know what's happening in here, but people want to call in, but the network, we are not getting them very clearly. But continue trying, and then you can speak to the sister, and mostly I'm waiting to hear from the sisters, because there are programs like AGOA in here, but people, they are now beginning to go away from these initiatives that come from white entities because of the infeminization of the black male, lesbianism, and all of that. It's trouble. This is another problem anyway.
Maybe it's too close to the phone.
Maybe it is too closer. All right, keep on trying. Tujja kuba tubakwata. Esimu mufayo tujja kuba tubakwata nga bwe twadjustinga. But really, they have been coming in and interested, and I feel it is cheating them if they go before they speak to you, and you can decipher some knowledge for them.
I just want to say thank you as well to everybody for how I've been received since I've been here. It can be a bit difficult coming, from outside of Africa and trying to bring forth some new perspective. But I want to say that I do not come like as if I know better than those on the land. I believe that we all have something of equal value to share with each other. Those who are living here have got best knowledge of what it is like to be here. And I promise you, those in the diaspora are wanting to make their journey back here. But what this time is about building those links, creating those, those links of trust, so that we can start to become familiar with each other again, so that we can start to work together and build. At the moment, there is another great harvest taking place in Africa. And people like the Chinese and different other communities are coming in and benefiting from the resources of this land.
Speak about that point, really, sister.
Okay. So if you've noticed in the news at the moment, and I've been seeing it on my travels, because I've been to Ethiopia, Ghana and Uganda just on this trip, and the prevalence of Chinese people is very, very apparent. And as much as I'm a globalist, so I understand that everybody has a right to live, I always look at when there is a trend and try and look at why that trend is happening. So what has been happening for a while is that economies such as China have been making agreements with countries such as Ghana and different other African countries, and basically under the guise that they are coming to help develop those countries as investors, but really they're not. There is a global scarcity of water and resources, especially in places such as China.
Repeat that one.
There is a global scarcity of water and resources, especially in places such as China. And so in order for them to sustain themselves, they have to grow their crops and their food in other places that are more nutrient rich, including Africa. So when they come to Africa and they come to buy land, they come to basically grow food, but also to take advantage of the natural resources. Now, how Africa is at a loss is because we do not have construction. We do not have ports that are of a good standard. So the Chinese will come and they gift ports and they gift building constructions, but what they take in return is so much more than what they're giving. And that's why I believe that the people from the diaspora, we have to make a commitment to try and come back to Africa and help to build this infrastructure. From being in the West, we have skills in construction, in finance, in strategy, in wealth creation. And we need to bring those skills here so that we can help to build Africa, so that we can work and build our economy.
Let's take it. Hello, TV Africa. Hello. Hello, tukuulira gwani okubiddewa. Kendeza TV yo. Yes, sir. You can speak to Amenti.
Hello, Mr. Guru. I would love to welcome that madam to our station.
Which station? Okay, thank you, at TV Africa.
I'm really asking, since she commands a big view and a big congregation in the UK, can she really help organize such people who have the same heart and heart to come and help our Ugandan or African people who are still on the continent, suffering within the means, and then having not been helped by our own leaders? Because by we as masses here and there, we can organize something special for ourselves before the government. And my second point is,
yes,
she is into entrepreneuring. I think she can help us, like we have Ugandan entrepreneurs with really original things like bags, like shoes, but the market is small. Even in our own cash box or whatever, but when you have something, you don't have the machinery, and you are selling it raw, and then you get the money small, and then the next thing, if you want the real the outcouple that is very expensive when you just put it back here. So we're asking, can she help us bridge the gap? Because people who are in between transporting these real riches, those people making the real products, we are the ones benefiting, that the real farmers, the real people having this benefit. I'm really asking her, can she organize that? Because she commands a big group of people out there who can really come and help here. Like if they could come up with some technological innovations or some like machinery. Because we have a coffee here, why can't we have smaller machinery to do our machine stuff here, rather than expecting the real coffee down there?
Okay.
Yeah, I really thank you very much. You look so good, African.
Ashe. So that's a question from somebody asking as you heard his question. So,
can you repeat the question?
So he's like, as you command a good number of people in Europe, the Africans in the diaspora and black people in there, can you really attract them to come and they bridge the gap so that these people, if they can bring the machinery, these people, the farmers in here, they can provide the raw materials and then the products so that they can be processed by our people there, or they can be processed here, but the blacks in the diaspora, they are the ones responsible for the copyright, for the seeds and in there. Let's take another one. This one went away.
That's fine.
Anyway,
answer that question, because that's the reason why I'm here. I am one person so far who is following a mission, but when I go back, I'm connected to a whole link of a whole community of people. And as I said again, through the internet and through different organizations, there's an organization called Black Links Global, which Black Links Global, which connects all black people who do businesses. They can go to this website and sign themselves up, and it's about creating infrastructures where we can now start connecting. My intention is to go back home and start developing events that we can do cross-culturally, where we invite people from here over there and there over here, vice versa. We can come over and do different business expos. We can encourage people to start promoting themselves online and create a space where we can start communicating with each other. I mean, today is one step, but my intention is to bridge that gap, and I believe that it will take just regular conferences and things like that, so that people can actually see what's taking place, share what they have, and see how we can move forward. So I want to say to the caller, thank you for calling in, because that is my mission, but it's going to take us all working together in order to make that happen. So I do encourage you all as well, if you have businesses, if you have land and things like that, look into Black Links Global, put your information on that site, and that would be at least one way that we can start. But I am coming back here in December as well, and that will be for a business conference so that we can start really putting some things together.
All right. Network is still a problem, but those ones who go through, then you can speak to the sister. So, as I can repeat for them in our language, sister ali mukugamba nti baina ekibiina, it's called
Black Links
Global. Osobola okukwata ebintu byo byoyiya oba kyonna kyovuddeyo n'okucreatinga n'okiteeka ku linki eyo. Kikuba kikugatta n'abaddugavu abalala abali ebweru wa Africa, ne tusobola okubanga tusobola okuzimba empire, ne tuba nga tuconnectinga buli wamu gye tuli okwetoloola planeti eno, okubanga waka waffe tumuteeka ku ntiko. Now there's people who have done invasions, but they're like all prototypes. They need some modification in there. I think this link can also help.
That's it.
Connect to them.
That's it. You know, that's the whole point. That's why I'm grateful to you and TV Africa, because all we can do is bring forth the information. People are seeing me, and I'm sure it's inspiring things in there. It's also inspiring me to hear. So when I go back, there's things that I can do. We have to understand that we are in the digital age, right? So that we can use that to our benefit. This is a means for being able to connect each other. So rather than wasting time using Facebook to like your favorite artist, investigate other people in different countries, make those connections, because it was people who were from here, who saw me online, who connected with me, and that's why I'm here. So we have to really start communicating with each other.
Hello? Hello? Yes, TV Africa, gwani okubiddewa? Okay. Okay, you can speak to the sister as we wind up.
Greetings.
Okay.
Yes. Hello?
Hello.
Yes, you can speak to Sister Amenti, the Awakener.
Okay. Thanks for the presentation.
Greetings. Thank you.
Actually, the challenge that we do have, and of which I actually appreciate TV Africa, in trying to awaken Africa. The programs that you do run really enlighten us.
Thank you.
Some of us have developed works, African works. We are kind of trying to decode the African stories. We have our stories written down in black and white. So the only way of decoding it is going through the stories of Africans. Their songs, their poems, their sayings, their practices.
Yes.
And you decode the stories out. But we've been able to decode some of the stories, but we do not have a media through which we can give this information to our brothers. So how do we approach TV Africa? That is my main issue.
Yes, sir.
Yes, please.
All right. All right, we appreciate so that
Thank you.
they really appreciate the information, and then the message, how we can spread it, it's still somehow limited. Other channels are not really focusing on the Africanness, but how are we going to really broaden it? But good enough, we have this establishment.
It's a start, yeah.
Yeah, it's a start, and it connects with other people now. You've been able to travel all the way long from England. Which city exactly?
London.
London?
Yeah.
In the heart of...
In the heart.
All right.
And I really believe that it's been divinely guided, because I'm a mother, I have 5 children. It's not easy to move, but I know that the vision that I have is one that is collectively shared, and somebody's got to be willing to take the step, you know, and as the caller said, you know, there is a hunger and a thirst in Africa for them to be able to see their image positively, for them to be able to see the past being reflected to them. And the beauty of Pan-Africanism is that those in the diaspora, we have been able to understand the philosophy of African spirituality, but we have no experience of African spirituality. That can only be taken place on the land.
And
so
the,
that's where
the
we
Africans
have the link.
on the continent, they have experience of the African spirituality, but
Right.
they don't know the awareness.
Thank you very much. So do you see why we need each other?
Each other.
And that is the power, the beautiful thing of the Mother Goddess, you know. For me, it's like slavery was seen as a bad thing, but I really believe that it was the Most High, the Creator, having a plan and knowing that in the future, we would need each other. That strength to rebuild Africa would have to come from outside.
Okay. Our last caller. Hello?
Hello?
Hello, yes.
Yes, Stephen Kumu.
Yes, sir.
I'd like to thank the station
All right.
for what you're doing. It's very great. Thanks for the guests that you got.
Okay.
And keep doing the good work, because I see a lot of people are being inspired even more than I expected, especially from the beginning when I started watching the program.
Yes,
Ashe.
I would like to get the name of the book again from the lady.
Yes.
The name of the book?
The book is called 12 Seeds to Awaken Your Spirit. That's 12 Seeds to Awaken Your Spirit.
12 seeds to awaken yourself.
Yes.
Okay, it seems very interesting, especially that first seed you're talking about know thyself.
Yes. You know, it's a very practical
I'm looking forward
book.
to reading it.
He's looking forward to reading it. You're coming back in December?
Definitely, I'll be back in December to do a business conference with the AEB.
Okay,
And
thank
so
you.
I'll
Thank
be
you for the good work.
Oh, thank you
Alright.
very much, caller. Thank you. Much love to my Ugandan family. Thank you for embracing me.
So,
I've had
by
nothing
the-
but good thoughts being here. So thank you.
So by the time you come in December, you come with those books. 'Cause
Definitely.
They'll be asking me.
Definitely.
And what's the price of the
The
book?
price at the moment is £20, but we would work out a price for the Ugandans because I want as many people to be able to have access to the book. Reason being is that it is a tool that will help to deprogram the minds of what we've gone through and help to liberate us into our higher self, and so that we have conscious thinking.
It's a book of how many pages?
450 pages.
450 pages.
Yes.
Now, £20, that's like 90,000.
But let's not look at it like that. Let's not look at it in terms of
We are
money.
going to-
Yeah, we're going to
Yeah.
reduce that because my main emphasis is that I want everyone who needs to have it to have it.
To have it.
Yeah, so whatever you have is fine. But I
As
want
we
people
wind
to get
up,
the
your
books.
closing statements and, the contact information where people can really follow you.
Okay,
On
brilliant.
your pages and everywhere, so that they can continue to share with you.
Fantastic.
Not only to stop in this program.
Thank you. I want to say thank you to everybody for welcoming me. As I said, as I've been in Uganda, I've been embraced by everybody that I've met here. As I said, for my book, it's available online at Amazon. 12 Seeds to Awaken Your Spirit by Amenti, the Awakener. I'm also on the radio, as I said, in the UK, and you can access my radio shows on Mixcloud.com. That's Mixcloud.com, and just type in Omega, which is OMEGA. Omega
Yes.
FM, and Omega is the feminine energy.
Yes.
So, and you'll find me there, Amenti the Awakener, for my show. You can also find me on Facebook under either Amenti the Awakener or Amenti Francis. Either one will take you. I have a YouTube channel as well, so I do upload videos, information, so you can find me on YouTube, Amenti the Awakener. And you can also email me, because I'm open to emails. I really want to be able to connect. So if there's any way that I can help, or if you want to communicate, if you have a business idea, if you want some inspiration, you can contact me at Amenti, which is AMENTI, the Awakener, official at gmail.com.
At gmail.com.
That's Amenti, the Awakener, official at gmail.com.
So, brothers and sisters, that's the information. Now you have access to Amenti, the Awakener.
Yes.
And it has been a pleasure really to have you in the studios of TV Africa, specifically in this program, Perception. It has a viewership that is wide and the points have been well taken. And then hope to have you here next time with more vibrant information,
Definitely.
positive as you've been. Thank you for the coming.
Thank you very much for having me.
So meet next time. So those of you TV Africa, more programs are coming in. Kabuka is coming with Maso Kulutimbe, that movie program that really happens to uplift our actors who are really doing the great stories of Africans. Let's not let the hunter to write our stories. This time, let the lions do their own stories. For the greatest good of Africa, and Africans for the Africans. Ashe.
Ashe yo.
Wherever you go, it's the way.